5 minor tweaks that can positively improve your SEO monthly reports with Mufaddal Sadriwala. In Search SEO podcast is brought to you by Rank Ranger, the all-in-one SEO platform that helps scale your business through data and analytics. Hey, it's David. Do you work in an SEO agency? And if so, when was the last time you improved your monthly reports? Today we're talking about what you might be missing from your monthly reports with a man who believes that there's no blueprint for SEO. He started off as a freelancer, creating and ranking sites 6 years ago, and nowadays he's an SEO strategist at iProspect Mumbai, and soon to be joining Assembly MENA. A warm welcome to the In Search SEO podcast, Mufaddal Sadriwala.
Thank you so much, David, for having me on your podcast. It's a real pleasure for me to be able to have a chat with you on this. Really excited on the topic that we have discussed today.
Great to have you on. Well, you can find Mufi over at mufaddal.digital. So, Mufi, what's the biggest issue you see in typical client reports?
So from my understanding, what I see is there's a huge gap between what the client understands or how clients understand SEO and what we as an SEO obviously have an understanding of SEO and organic traffic. And this gap needs to be, bridged using the monthly SEO reports that we send it to the clients. So the reports are majorly that we as an SEO create are majorly from an SEO perspective, where we talk about a lot of technicalities, a lot of things that the clients do not understand. Basically, what we need to talk about in our monthly reports is basically the business impact of SEO, the business impact organic traffic is bringing to the table, the business impact SEO is bringing to the table for them, and overall what are the ranking improvements for them, along with the organic traffic, what all other things are improving for them on the website, and also if there are anything that is in the pipeline that is not getting approved, and things that can be pushed basically for bringing further improvements in your SEO strategy. So these are the things that needs to be talked in our SEO reports, rather than just about the technical stuff on page, off page, and the usual stuff that we talk about. So an example, if I can give you, one of the client reports that I'd seen, we were plotting bounce rate as a metric for them in a Google sheet basically. And when I asked the executive, why are we plotting bounce rate, so he or she did not have the answer on why are we doing that. So these vanity metrics, which do not make any sense for the client as well as for us, are getting plotted in the monthly reports, and that's where the gap is. So the client looks at the bounce rate. You cannot interpret if the bounce rate which is going up or down. Why is it going up or down? What is the reason behind that? So it's just a vanity metric that is getting plotted in our in the monthly reports, which do not make sense. So instead of that, obviously these are the metrics that are good to have, but apart from that, the major part of the SEO report should talk about the business impact SEO is bringing to the table for the client. You can display the ROI and things like that.
Understood. So remove vanity metrics, talk about business impact, and talk future strategy. Don't major on past metrics. So today we're going to be sharing the 5 minor tweaks that can positively improve an SEO monthly report. Starting off with number 1, revenue from organic traffic.
So I think this is one of the very important metric that needs to go in the SEO reports. Like I said, this is where we need to show the business impact side of SEO, obviously. So how much revenue organic traffic is generating for the brand? That's something which excites the client, which tells them, okay, this is what the revenue is getting generated from organic traffic. This is how the business impact is coming onto the table from there. So this is where I think organic traffic needs to be obviously shown to the clients in the SEO reports. Now, what I understand is showing revenue for an e-commerce brand, it's quite easy because you have web analytics tool, you have Google Analytics, in which you can set up enhanced e-commerce tracking, and that's where you can start getting data directly in your reports. But the major challenge which comes in is for lead generation based websites, where you cannot quantify how much what a lead is worth basically, and how much that lead is valued for the client. So this is where what I suggest is basically that you we as an SEO analyze how much leads are we getting, obviously, from, like, do a basic tracking of the lead, of the forms, of the lead generation forms and everything, and then track how many forms are getting submitted through organic traffic, and then multiply it with the AOV, or the average order value, or the value of a lead, which the client the value of the lead the client have for each of them basically. So by multiplying this, you can get a number, and that can be an approximate number of revenue that the client could be generating from these. Now, that's, like I said, it's not the revenue number, but it's more like an approximate uh, I would say approximate value that the client is getting out of the organic leads that is coming onto the table, basically. Yeah. And the second part, which where I see, is that even though if we are talking about organic traffic, into like the overall organic traffic, or the organic revenue that is coming in from these, for a brand, or for an e-commerce brand, or a lead gen brand, what we can also do is bifurcate that in terms of brand and non-brand traffic, because obviously brand traffic has a lot more intent, and the conversion rates and everything are great, basically, and the recall value and everything is different. Basically, the way brand traffic uh, brand traffic, I would say, engage with your website is different from non-brand traffic. So if we can also bifurcate that using Google Search Console's data, and show that as an impact, like how this is what non-brand traffic is bringing, this is what non-brand traffic is bringing revenue to your website. I think that can be a great way to educate the client about the ROI your SEO efforts are giving it to them. So that's where I think this is how we can bifurcate or show the business impact of organic traffic to the clients.
Okay, great. So get a financial value and put it down there. Even though it's just an estimate, it's still an important metric for clients. So that takes us up to tip number 2, which is reason for the increase or decrease in organic traffic.
Correct. So basically, this is majorly coming from the fact that people do not add insights on why on or the reasons behind if there is an increase or decrease in organic traffic or rankings, or if there are any major changes that has happened during that month. So what I've seen people usually do is they plot data in an Excel, or in slides, where it is seen just like, where it is seen that their job is just to plot the data in the slides and dump it in that, and then just send it to the client without even analyzing why there is a reason, or without even analyzing the reason behind the increase or the decrease or the change in the organic traffic or rankings, etc. So I'll just give an example on this. Basically, suppose there is an increase in your organic traffic by 20 or 30% in a given month. Suppose it just happened in the previous month of March. Right now, if you'll not analyze why that 30% increase has come on the website, you'll obviously not able to understand obviously the reason behind that. So the way I look at it is basically the first thing: if there's an increase or a major fluctuation in the organic traffic, or in any other number, is first look at the brand and the non-brand data. Is that change or the fluctuation coming from brand traffic? Because obviously brand traffic are much volatile, and it changes depending on the other offline campaigns that the brands usually run. So if it is coming from brand, then okay, that's completely okay. You can probably find a reason on why that has gone up or down, and then you can report it to the client. But if it is coming from non-brand traffic, you need to deep dive on why that increase has happened. So in SEO, as we all know, that whatever change we do, it takes time for Google to recrawl them and reindex them, and obviously it takes time for us to see the impact in terms of rankings. So probably if something that you have changed in the previous month that could have started showing you result in this month, or probably it could start showing you result in the upcoming months basically. So that's the way we need to be ready in terms of analyzing the change in terms of traffic and rankings, and then attribute it to the correct change that is obviously made in the previous months on that front basically. Obviously you cannot attribute it to a single change that was made, but obviously we can get a better idea on what is working for our website and what is not, so you can double down your efforts on the things that are working for you. So that's where we need to analyze the change, or whatever change has been there in the traffic and revenue. Where is that coming from, and why is that basically? And also the great thing that can happen over here is that suppose there is a drop in your non-brand traffic, and that is coming from because of the drop in rankings. So you can double down on why that there is a drop in rankings, and then probably your next month strategy, your next plan can also start coming in from the drop that is coming. So your first priority would be to to bring back the old rankings which has dropped in the current month, and these are the 5-10 things that needs to be done in order to do that. So actually analyzing the data which is present on your analytics tool, that can help you that can help you understand what is happening on the website, educate the client accordingly, and that, or it can also help you create a roadmap for the next 2-3 months if that's a very significant change that has been witnessed by you.
And number 3 way to improve those reports is to incorporate pending tasks.
The third thing which I see which is completely missing in the SEO reports are the pending tasks basically. So this is the time where you can talk about the things that are pending from the client side. And as an SEO, I know a lot of things get into the pipeline, are in the pipeline on the approval zone, or in the pipeline for the developers and their in their backlog and everything. And as an SEO, I know what the struggle is for us to get our changes implemented on the website. So if you have a long list of pending tasks, or if you have a list of pending tasks that is actually impacting the organic traffic performance or the SEO performance, then definitely you should add those in your SEO reports. The reason is because the reports are also seen by the top executives, the top management, and when they look at, okay, these are the 10 things that are pending from their end, they actually they're in the know about the issues, or about the things which is hindering or impacting the traffic or the growth of the traffic for the brand. So you can actually tell them, they see, this is what we suggested, but because this was not implemented, this is the reason we cannot see a stable growth in our organic traffic. And these are the top tasks that needs to be executed in terms of in order to have an improvement in our overall traffic. So this is that's the reason I think pending tasks should be included in the monthly report, so that the top management is in the know about what all things are pending from their end, and how they can make this process smooth basically.
Which takes us up to number 4, add a top level summary.
Correct. So basically, what I also realized is that even though we create a great or a good monthly report with all the insights and everything, what we forget to add is a top level summary for people in the top management, or in the top execution, in the execution basically. So the reason so the idea behind this is basically they do not have time to go through your report or slide by slide. So what they need is a summary which they can read and get an idea on what is happening on the project, and how much of that like what is happening overall in a nutshell on the project or on the brand basically. So a top level summary helps them understand on overall overall basically on what things are working or what things are not working. And if they want to have a look at the report and on a specific slide, if they want to deep dive into that, they can definitely do that. But like I said, a top level summary is something that can be added on the first slide, and also it can be sent along with the email in the email body that of the monthly reports. So that usually helps people understand on what you are going to be talking about in the reports. And my way to go with adding top level summary is basically I do not go back and uh, create a separate summary. What I do is I just copy and paste the insights from individual slides and add it as a top level summary overall in this. So so it usually works for me in that way. It's a very easy task to do, but it can have a huge impact overall for your reporting basically.
And finally, number 5, ranking report summary split into categories and rankings.
Correct. So what happens is basically as an SEO, what we do is we track a list of extensive keywords like 500, 1000, 2000 list of keywords we track basically to obviously track our improvement, to analyze our rankings, etc. But what I've seen people doing is that they send the complete dump of all the rankings to the client, and the client do not have an idea on how the rankings are performing. So that's where the idea is basically to have a summary over here as well, where you can where we need to tell them to where we can inform the client, okay, these are the in the top first position, these are the keywords, these are the number of keywords that are ranking. So for example, out of the 1000 keywords that we are tracking, 200 keywords are ranking in the first position. Then in the top 2 to 3 5 position, these are the number of keywords that are ranking. Then in the bottom 5 to 10 position, these are the number of keywords that are ranking. Then in the next two pages, like from 11th to 30th position, these are the number of keywords that are ranking. And obviously we can plot this on a month on month basis so that the client can understand if that number in the first page rankings is increasing or decreasing. So for example, if you were ranking the top position for 200 keywords in this month, so has that number gone up to 220 or has it gone down to 190 or 180? So that number can give them an idea on what is happening on the rankings front in that way. Similarly, what we can do is basically we can also categorize the keywords in terms of the website category or the brand categories or the products that they are selling on the website. So for example, if you have a brand which is selling shoes, so you can categorize the keywords in terms of the formal shoes, casual shoes, black, blue, basically the different categories which are present, so that you can we can analyze or we can report it to the client that okay, the black formal shoes is the best category in terms of ranking, which is giving us the best output. But apart from that, the other categories are not performing that well, and whatever the reasons are, it is too much, it is too competitive, or because we suggested something that was not incorporated, and that is the reason this is lacking behind. So instead of sending a dump of 1000 2000 keywords, bifurcate them in terms of categories, in terms of ranking position, so that the client understand okay, this is what the performance is. And obviously if they want to deep dive into the keywords on what are the top keywords that are ranking on the first position, they can definitely look at the extensive list of keywords. But obviously summary helps them in understanding it in a simpler way.
Great thoughts. Well, let's finish off with
the Pareto Pickle.
So Pareto says you can get 80% of your results from 20% of your efforts. So what's one SEO activity that you would recommend that provides incredible results for modest levels of effort?
Okay, so I obviously, like I said, there's no blueprint to do SEO, so you cannot just follow something which has worked for any other brand. But what, in my opinion, what I see is internal linkings or internal links are I would say the most underrated SEO or the most underrated way or most underrated technique which is underutilized overall from an SEO perspective. The reason is because we have complete control over the internal links that we can build, that we can create basically, right? And the value that these internal links and the context these internal links provide to the search engines is immense. Even in fact, in a lot of podcasts, in a lot of in a lot of questions and forums as well, Google spokespersons have talked about the importance of internal links and the context it can give to Google or the search engines about the importance of certain pages, about the importance of your articles, which are internal linked from each other. So I think internal links are a great way of looking at your website's overall structure, your website's crawlability. If you are having a hard time, getting your content recrawled or getting your new content indexed, I think internal linkings are a great way in order to improve that. That I think that, like I said, that takes a very least efforts and can give a huge efforts, or can give a huge amount of returns in terms of the efforts that are being invested. So that's the way I think internal linkings are mostly underrated SEO technique.
Wonderful stuff. I've been your host, David Bain. You can find Mufi over at mufaddal.digital. Mufi, thanks so much for being on the In Search SEO podcast.
Thank you so much. I would again would like to thank you for having me, David. It was so nice talking to you about SEO and reporting stuff.
And thank you for listening. Check out all the previous episodes and sign up for a free trial of the Rank Ranger platform over at rankranger.com.